This wasn't just a game. This wasn't just another night in the WNBA. This was a battle. A game that was about more than just points on the board. A game about respect, revenge, and a team's fight for its identity. Because after Sophie Cunningham, one of the toughest, most fearless players in the league, was taken down in a brutal on-court clash, the Indiana Fever came into their matchup with the Connecticut Sun with a mission. And let me tell you, Lexie Hull and Kelsey Mitchell answered that mission loud and clear. The Fever didn't just win. They sent a message, and the entire WNBA heard it. What's up, legends? Welcome back to the channel, the home of WNBA breakdowns, hard-hitting analysis, and yes, all the drama that makes this league so addictive to watch. If you're new here, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments, because today we're diving into a story that's part basketball, part rivalry, and part pure soap opera. Let's rewind to what started this fire. Sophie Cunningham, the enforcer of the WNBA, the player who never backs down, took a nasty shot that left her hobbling off the court with a swollen black eye. Fans were outraged. Clips of the collision spread instantly across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Some said it was just a tough play. Others said it was a straight-up cheap shot. But here's the bottom line. Sophie was out. And when you lose a player like Sophie, you don't just lose a scorer or a defender. You lose your backbone, the protector, the spark plug, the one who tells opponents, "Not on my watch." For Indiana, it felt like someone had ripped the shield out of their hands. But instead of folding, they turned Sophie's injury into fuel. Now here's where it gets even spicier. The Fever weren't just playing anyone. They were up against the Connecticut Sun, one of the most physical, most intimidating teams in the WNBA. The Sun pride themselves on toughness. Alyssa Thomas is a walking wrecking ball. DeWanna Bonner is a veteran sniper who thrives in pressure moments. They've been bullies on the block for years. So when Indiana faced them right after losing their own enforcer, it was the perfect storm. This wasn't just a game. This was a test. Could Indiana take the punch and deliver one back? Enter Lexie Hull. Now let's be real. Hull isn't always the first name you think of when you talk about WNBA stars. She's been underrated, overlooked, treated like a role player in a league dominated by superstars. But on this night, Lexie was unleashed. She played like someone who had been waiting her entire career for this moment, diving for loose balls, hounding Connecticut's guards on defense, and knocking down shots with absolute confidence. She wasn't just filling Sophie Cunningham's role, she was amplifying it. Fans watching at home noticed it too. You could see the comments flying. Lexie Hull is playing possessed. She's Sophie's spirit on the court tonight. This wasn't the same Lexie Hull we've seen before. This was a revenge-driven version. And then there was Kelsey Mitchell. If Lexie Hull was the heart of this win, Mitchell was the dagger. Known for her scoring, Mitchell has always been capable of exploding offensively. But against Connecticut, she looked like a superstar with something to prove. Step-backs, drives, pull-up threes. She had the Suns' defense scrambling all night. But what stood out wasn't just her buckets. It was her swagger. After hitting a clutch three late in the fourth, she turned to the crowd, chest out, eyes locked in like she was saying, "This is our house, not yours." That moment told the whole story. This wasn't just a game. This was a statement. Now let's talk about the fans. Because if you weren't in the arena, you missed something special. The crowd felt it. Every rebound, every defensive stop, every bucket. The noise wasn't just cheering, it was roaring. You could feel the fans feeding off the players, and the players feeding off the fans. Meanwhile, online, forget about it. Twitter erupted with highlight clips. TikTok edits of Hull's hustle plays and Mitchell's threes spread like wildfire. One viral post said, "That wasn't basketball, that was a war, and Indiana just won it." Another fan wrote, "This is the Indiana Fever I've been waiting for. Grit, fire, revenge." For once, the Fever weren't trending because of Caitlin Clark's name. They were trending because of teamwork and toughness. Here's the thing, on paper it's just one win. But in reality, it's a turning point. The Fever have been battling all season to prove they're They're not just a Caitlin Clark sideshow. Every loss brought more criticism. Every highlight of Clark overshadowed the grind of her teammates. This game changed that. By beating Connecticut and doing it with Hull and Mitchell leading the way, Indiana proved they're more than just Clark's supporting cast. They're fighters, they're united, and they're dangerous. And let's not ignore what this says about Connecticut. The Sun are used to imposing their will. They're used to breaking teams down physically and mentally. But against Indiana, they looked rattled. When the Fever refused to back down, when Hull and Mitchell pushed back, suddenly Connecticut didn't have that same edge. It's a warning to the rest of the league. If Indiana can stand toe-to-toe with the Suns' physicality, they can stand up to anyone. And here's the poetic part. Sophie Cunningham wasn't even on the floor, but her presence was everywhere. On the bench, cheering, clapping, shouting encouragement. On social media, where fans rallied behind her with hashtags like #JusticeForSophie. Her injury, as painful as it was, gave her team a rallying cry. The Fever weren't just playing for themselves. They were playing for Sophie. And that's why this game felt bigger than basketball. So what does this all mean moving forward? It means the Indiana Fever just found their identity. Clark may be the star. Boston may be the anchor. But Hull and Mitchell just proved that toughness and grit are what make this team dangerous. It means the Sun and the rest of the league now know Indiana isn't backing down anymore. And it means Sophie Cunningham's legacy as the enforcer is alive and well, even when she's sidelined. Chicago, New York,
Las Vegas.
Pay attention, because if the Fever keep playing with this kind of chip on their shoulder, if they keep channeling Sophie Cunningham's toughness and Hull and Mitchell's firepower, the WNBA landscape is about to shift. This wasn't just a win, it was a warning shot. So let's wrap this up. Lexie Hull and Kelsey Mitchell didn't just play great basketball. They avenged their teammate. They flipped the script. They gave Indiana a new identity. And in doing so, they might have changed the course of the Fever's season, and maybe even the WNBA itself. But I'll leave it to you. Was this truly revenge for Sophie Cunningham? Did Hull and Mitchell just prove Indiana is more than Caitlin Clark's team? And do you think this game was a turning point, or just a one-off emotional win? Drop your takes in the comments, and as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the breakdowns that ESPN won't give you. This is just the beginning, and trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next.